Here are 5 things that I will always do for my woman as an emotionally intelligent man. Number 1, I'll never make her carry the relationship alone. If something doesn't feel right, I'm not waiting for her to bring it up first every time, because I don't expect her to manage the state of the relationship by herself. When one person is carrying the relationship alone, it leads to resentment and distance instead of intimacy and connection. Number 2, I'll never make her guess where she stands with me. If something's bothering me, we'll talk about it. If I'm struggling, I'm not going to disappear or shut down for 3 days and expect her to figure it out. Number 3, I'll always make sure she feels safe telling me the truth. This is a big one. I want her to know that she can disagree with me, challenge me, tell me when she's hurt, and tell me when I'm wrong. Honesty only exists when people feel safe enough to tell the truth. And number 4, I'm going to take the lead on hard conversations. If something needs to be discussed, I'm not waiting until resentment builds. I'll be the one willing to sit down, communicate clearly, and work through it. Avoiding hard conversations doesn't protect relationships. It slowly damages them over time. And number 5, and most importantly, I'll keep becoming a better man. I'm not perfect, and I never want my partner to feel like I stopped growing because I got comfortable. I'm gonna keep learning, I'm gonna keep healing, I'm gonna keep working on myself, because the healthier I become, the healthier our relationship becomes. One thing I learned is that being a good partner is not about grand gestures. It's about creating an environment where someone feels loved, respected, safe, and understood consistently.
Have you ever noticed that relationships don't fall apart because people stop caring? They fall apart because people stop listening. And that's dangerous. Because the moment someone feels safe enough to tell you how they feel, what they're carrying, what hurt them, and what's weighing heavy on their heart, that's not an invitation for you to defend yourself. It's an opportunity for you to understand something that you didn't see before. And too many people hear feelings and immediately prepare a rebuttal. They hear pain and they start building a defense. They hear honesty and they treat it like an accusation. But healthy relationships don't grow through arguments, they grow through understanding. Now, think about this. If someone trusts you enough to be vulnerable, they're not always asking you to agree. Sometimes they're just asking you to hear them. And mature people, they surely understand the difference because they don't see every difficult conversation as a threat. They see it as valuable information, information that can help strengthen, information that can help prevent distance, information that can help love grow deeper. Scripture says to be quick to listen, careful to speak, and slow to anger, right? Now imagine how many relationships, marriages, friendships could be saved if people live by that. Because when people feel misunderstood, they stay connected. But when people feel dismissed, they slowly pull away. And most relationships don't break in a single moment. They fade one unheard conversation at a time. So the next time someone shares what's on their heart, don't rush to respond. Slow down. Listen. And listen with your heart. Because I promise you, understanding heals things that arguing never, ever, ever will.
The relationships that stand the test of time all have emotional boundaries. Here are a few non negotiables that I recommend to my clients. Number 1 is emotional exclusivity. The deepest emotional conversations that you have belong inside of your romantic relationship. None of this work wife, work husband nonsense. No running to the group chat every time you two have a disagreement, because chances are you two will forgive each other, you two will work things out, but your friends and family won't be so forgiving. And once they know the intimate details of your relationship, it will leave a sour taste in their mouth. 2 is respect for each other's emotional limits. Vulnerability is not an unlimited resource that your partner is entitled to. If you've communicated something that's bothered you and nothing changed, you're not obligated to stay emotionally open. Their boss at work doesn't have to repeat themselves once they've made themselves clear, so why should you? Number 3 is emotional accountability. All feelings are welcome, all behaviors are not. Cussing each other out, huge emotional outbursts, and then saying, oh, I was just upset. Very emotionally immature and childish. If you can regulate the way you communicate at work, I promise you can regulate the way you communicate at home. Number 4 is individual emotional regulation. It is not your partner's job to be your sole source of emotional regulation. That is codependent and it's very unhealthy. The relationships that stand the test of time, each person has other sources of emotional validation, reassurance, and fulfillment.
You decide that you're mad at me and you decide to give me the silent treatment, make it a lifetime because that's what it's going to be for me. If you cannot address your issues with your friend who you love, who you care about, who you support, who you ride or die for, if y'all can't have a conversation about something that hurt you, something that bothered you, I don't see how you can call yourself an adult.
Ooh.
If I could go back 30 years and tell my 25-year-old self a few things about relationships, here's exactly what I would say to her. Some people don't love you. They love how much you tolerate. Effort is a language, but silence is too. If you've been rehearsing what to say for weeks, something already isn't right. Confusion is what happens when your intuition and your hope are in a fight. Love is not supposed to require strategy. Sometimes the relationship works as long as you don't need anything. Too many people mistake emotional endurance for love. Pay attention. Chemistry is common, alignment is rare. Choose alignment. They didn't misunderstand you, they disagreed with your worth. If your success creates distance instead of pride, pay attention, because you have to choose the relationship where your growth is celebrated, not tolerated. And every ending is not a loss. Some are deliverance. Hope that helps.
Don't dismiss how she feels. You're too emotional. You're too sensitive. That's not intelligence. It's all about your feelings. You can't say that to a woman. Emotional intelligence says, I'm going to try to understand why she feels the way she feels. Never argue with a woman about her feelings. You will lose every time. She comes to you with problems. She comes to you with her pain. And somehow or another, by the end of that conversation, you've made it about you. That's not emotional intelligence.
I don't care what nobody say. A healthy relationship will expose you. What's going on, guys? I'm Derek Dominique. I cover everything neuroscience and marriage and family therapy. I was in a session recently and a lady was saying, why do I always feel like he's against me, or he's trying to expose something in me, or he's trying... And I let her, finish her conversation. And I explained to her that a healthy relationship is nothing but a mirror. It holds that mirror up to all your flaws. And one thing us humans hate to do is stand in front of that mirror. Really being honest with ourselves and saying, I need to work on X, Y, and Z. A healthy relationship will expose all of your flaws. Babe, you need to work on this. Babe, you're not that great at communication. Babe, you could probably do this a little bit better. Babe, you need to heal these things. You would understand this person loves me. They want the best for me. They want to see me grow. If we're not growing, why are we together? Oh, you just want the I love you. I love you, baby. Okay, that's cool. But it has to be more than just I love you. It has to be I love you enough to want to see you become the best version of yourself. Yes, there's things you're going to do by yourself to become that. There's also things your partner will help bring up or bring to the fold that will make you a better person. Everybody I want a healthy relationship. You sure? Are you sure?
One of you is exhausted from being the one who always brings up the hard conversations and the things that need to change. And the other one is exhausted from constantly being told that what they're doing is not enough. I'm a relationship therapist, and this is a dynamic I constantly see. One partner becomes the one who pushes for change. They initiate the hard conversations, they point out the patterns, they name what's not working, they send the podcast and the reels, and they just really keep trying to move the relationship forward. The other partner becomes the one who protects stability. They want peace, they don't want things to be picked apart, they want to enjoy what's good, and they don't want every calm moment to turn into a we need to talk. And neither role is automatically good or bad, but the problem happens when this turns into a loop. The change partner can start to feel alone and resentful, like they're the one carrying the relationship and they're the only one who cares enough to try. And the stability partner can start to feel like they're always failing, like nothing they do counts, and that their natural way of loving is wrong. So they get stuck. Because the more one partner pushes for change, the more the other partner protects how things are. And the more the other partner protects how things are, the more the first one feels panic and pushes even harder. If you're in this cycle, you've probably convinced yourself that your relationship has communication issues, but what's usually actually happening is that the moment these conversations come up, both nervous systems get activated. I like to teach couples that a relationship is essentially two nervous systems trying to learn how to sit at the same table. And when a nervous system senses a threat, it will start chasing safety the best and the only way it knows how. So for the partner who pushes for change, threat can feel like nothing ever changing. So their body will go into urgency. It'll start scanning, it'll push for answers, it will try to lock in certainty in any way. And for the partner who protects stability, danger can feel like being judged and never measuring up. So the body goes into defense. It shuts down, it minimizes, and ending the pressure or the conversation feels like relief. When both nervous systems feel under threat, the relationship stops being the thing they protect and they start protecting themselves instead. Because in that moment, their body doesn't give them access to anything else. The key is that when a conversation starts with threat, it's extremely hard to end in connection. Connection has to be set up before the threat kicks in, and that will look different depending on which role you're in your relationship. If you're the change partner, your goal is to make the conversation survivable for your partner's nervous system. Your partner will often shut down when they feel like a conversation is a surprise, when it has no end, or when there is a direct attack on their character or on who they are. So for them, safety looks like predictability, and you can create that in two ways. First, you can get consent and give timing. So you can say, hey, can we do a quick 15-minute check-in later? I really want to feel closer to you. That one action will tell their body you're not trapped. The second thing you can do is lead with your feelings, not with their failure. You want to name the impact and then make only one clear request. So something like, I've been feeling really disconnected lately. Can we do phones down after dinner tonight? The steadier your tone, the easier it is for them to stay present. And overall, people can really hear a request when they don't feel judged. If you're the steady partner, your goal is to make an effort to feel visible to your partner's nervous system. Your partner probably panics when they feel like they're carrying the relationship alone, when nothing is changing or landing the way they want it to, or when they feel like they have to beg to be taken seriously. And safety for them is knowing that you're in it too. And you can create that in two ways. The first is you have to initiate sometimes. So this doesn't mean only after a blow up or an argument, but you should do check-ins and say something like, hey, how are you feeling about us lately? Randomly. That one question will tell their body that you are there too and you're not leaving them to handle this all alone. The second thing you can do is circle back with something concrete. You want to give a clear signal that you took in what they said or what they're feeling. You can say, I've been thinking about what you said and here's what I can do differently. This will make your partner feel chosen without having to chase you. Overall, the goal isn't to make your partner show up the way you do. It's to create a relationship where both nervous systems can feel safe enough to find a way to meet in the middle.
A lot of men unfortunately think emotional safety is about not doing something extreme, but in reality, it's the small everyday behaviors that either builds that safety or breaks it. And here are 5 things men do that make women feel unsafe without even realizing it. Number one, dismissing emotions. Like when you're saying things like you're overreacting or trying to fix instead of understand, you're telling her her feelings aren't safe with you. Number two, inconsistency. That hot and cold energy, showing up strong one day and then distant the next, her nervous system cannot relax if it doesn't know what version she's gonna get. Number three, defensiveness. If every conversation turns into you protecting your ego instead of listening, she stops feeling heard. Number four, using tone of intensity instead of presence. You don't have to yell to feel safe. Sharp tone, pressure, and emotional edge can be enough to close her off. And number five, lack of emotional awareness. If you're disconnected from your own feelings, you won't be able to hold space for her, because emotional safety isn't built through control, dominance, or being right all the damn time. It's built through consistency, presence, and emotional awareness. And when a woman feels safe, she doesn't close off. She opens in ways most men have never experienced.
You want to know why she's emotional? It's because she tried logic already. She tried to be soft. She tried to be gentle. She tried not to scream. She tried not to cry. She tried not to stomp. And through all of that, you still looked at her as if she was stupid. You still told her everything that she just said was wrong. You still dismissed her. This is a result of that action. The quote says, "I understand the perspective could be fact to me and fiction to you." So you mean to tell me that you strongly believe what you're saying is right, but when she had the exact same energy, you had the nerve to tell her she was wrong? Her perspective is always going to be fact to her, and it's always going to be fiction to you if you don't open your mind up to receiving that. Believing there's one cookie cutter way to move, believing that there's only one right answer is little nigga shit, and you need to cut that shit out immediately if you want a feminine woman. And if you don't want a feminine woman, then don't go for a feminine woman. Motherfuckers got to learn how to move, man. Everything she just said was a fact. Accept it.
If you love your partner and you want to stay with them, then you guys really have to understand this. One of the easiest ways to kill your relationship is listening to the ways that you're hurting your partner without realizing it and not making a change. Listen, if it hurts them, it needs to go. So take turns answering this question and take accountability for the parts of yourselves that you both need to work on. What bad habits do you have during disagreements and arguments with your partner that you'd like to improve? Whether that's being really defensive or shutting down or not talking about things until they're a huge issue, take accountability and work on it.
A woman can love you deeply and still not feel safe with you. And before some of you hear that only as immediately as you're calling men dangerous, like slow down. Because safety in relationship is not only about physical danger, although to some degree it can be. It's also about nervous system safety, emotional safety, predictability, containment. A man can be loyal, hardworking, faithful, generous, and still not know how to create safety under pressure. Because safety is not built from intentions, it's built from repeated nervous system experiences. Can she bring you hard emotions without you collapsing, exploding, shutting down, becoming defensive, stonewalling, sarcastic, intimidating, avoidant, dismissive, or turning everything back on her? Can you stay present when tension enters the room? Because for many men, the moment emotional intensity rises, their nervous system interprets it as failure or as criticism, disrespect, loss of control, or threat. And once that happens, survival patterns take over, like our range gets limited. That's why so many couples are stuck in the same cycle. She keeps trying to explain why she doesn't feel safe, and he keeps defending all the reasons he should feel safe to her. But safety is not something you can explain someone into feeling. It's something their body experiences consistently enough to finally unclench. And this is exactly why I wrote the book, Safe. Because most men, we were never taught what emotional safety actually is. We were taught provision, performance, stoicism, suppression, survival, but not containment, not regulation, not how to stay connected to ourselves while someone we love is hurting. And the hard truth is this: love without safety, eventually it exhausts the nervous system. And once somebody's body no longer feels emotionally safe, attraction, intimacy, openness, softness, trust, and connection, they all begin to erode. Not because they stopped loving you, but because their nervous system stopped relaxing around you.
The moment I realized I was carrying the entire emotional load in my marriage, it didn't come in some big dramatic argument. It came 7 months ago in the quiet. So I remember sitting in my room thinking, something is very wrong here. Because I was exhausted in a way that sleep couldn't fix. So I asked my husband for space, separate rooms. Thankfully, we were able to do that. We needed a pause so we could actually see what was real, not what we were pretending to hold together. And once the silence settled, that's when it clicked. I had been carrying every emotional responsibility in this relationship. Every single one. What we eat, what needs to be bought, inventory in the house, kids' schedules, schoolwork, finances, birthdays, appointments, every plan, every hard conversation, every moment of emotional maintenance. If something needed to be addressed, I was the one who brought it up. If there was a conflict, I was the one making the repair attempts. If there was depth to be created, I was the one creating it. There were nights I would come home and tell him something that happened at work, and he would just sit there, nodding silently. And I'd literally have to ask him if he had an opinion on what I just shared. Who wants to do that? Who wants to beg their partner to show up as a partner? So when we separated into our own rooms, I made one decision that changed everything. I wasn't bridging the emotional gap anymore. Not one more time. If he wanted to talk, he was gonna have to come to me. If he wanted to fix anything, he would have to step forward because I had spent 16 years walking across that emotional bridge by myself. 16 years carrying conversations, problem solving, emotional repair, connection, everything. And in that silence, in that space, do you know what I got back? More silence, avoidance, sometimes even attitude. And that's when the truth hit me in the stomach. I wasn't in a partnership. I had never been. I was in an emotional labor contract I'd never signed. And I was fucking devastated. Because once you see it, there is no unseeing it. You can't go back to pretending that crumbs are connection. You can't convince yourself you're asking for too much when the reality is you've been accepting too little. But here's the part I want you to hear clearly. I'm talking to you. Once I stopped carrying his half of the relationship, I finally had the energy to carry myself. My grounding, my emotional clarity, my peace, my future. And when you stop over-functioning for someone, their under-functioning becomes impossible to ignore. And so if you're in that place where the emotional load is like crushing you and you're starting to realize you've been holding the whole damn thing together with toilet tissue and bubble gum, you're not crazy and you're not broken. You're just waking up. If you want to dive deeper into topics like these, join me in the Speakeasy at the link in my bio.
And do you know what happens when someone feels chronically neglected for months and years into a relationship? Do you know what happens when someone is consistently dismissed and overlooked and yelled at and called names and blamed for all the issues in the relationship and called crazy for asking for the bare minimum amount of emotional connection? Eventually they snap. Eventually they yell back and they say terrible things and they slowly become a version of themselves they never wanted to become. And a few things happen when you get to that place. One, a narcissistic person will take out their phone and record you during one of your episodes. They will push you and purposely trigger you until you break. And then they'll record you getting rageful so that they can show everyone how terrible you are. Or two, after you snap and call them names, you're filled with shame and guilt, and it only gives them more ammunition to use against you. Plus, you really do feel bad about lashing out. So you fall back into a submissive role. So I just want to remind you, with the few minutes that we have together today, that you're not crazy. You're trying to find safety and connection in an environment where they're making it impossible. It's not possible for you to feel safe with someone who says that you're too much, right? And your feelings and needs are a burden. You will never find the right words for someone who is committed to misunderstanding you. You're asking someone to fix something they don't view as broken. And the right person for you doesn't think you're too much. The right person wants you to feel safe to be vulnerable and honest. The right person wants you to feel valued and respected in this relationship. And you might have been conditioned over time to believe that love means abandoning yourself, right? You learned that to be in a relationship means placing their feelings and needs above your own. That's how you've stayed safe and connected to people your whole life, probably since childhood, right? But I just want to remind you that real love doesn't want you to feel afraid to show up as you, right? That's not love. It's survival.
I'm going to tell you the number one thing that a woman needs in a marriage or long-term relationship, and if you are not providing this as a man, the thing is going to suffer, crash, and burn in flames. My name is Bart, and I provide daily insights to men, so if you want to be a better leader, click the follow button. Do you know what the answer is? It's safety. Oh, I'm providing that. I'm providing her with everything she wants. Financially, nobody has died, so I'm providing the physical. Okay, there's one more element to safety that you're missing, and it's the emotional safety. So if you're reacting, shutting down, getting defensive all the time, you're maybe controlling her in some ways, you're just insensitive, like saying passive aggressive things. This is an indicator that you're not providing that emotional safety. What's going to happen is she's going to feel unheard, unseen, unknown, unaccepted. She's going to feel unloved, unadored. And when that happens, she's going to shut down. You're going to get that business partner effect. She's going to feel more like a roommate. Obviously, intimacy is going to decline because she needs emotional connection in order for the physical to happen. And so if you're not providing this safety, you got to learn how to do it. The criticism that you're taking personally is not actually about you. It's about her wanting something more from you at a deep emotional level because she feels afraid and insecure emotionally. If you need help, DM me. I run a masterclass. You can comment, masterclass below. Lead yourself first and the rest will follow.
Let me tell you something real. If you don't know how to make someone feel emotionally safe, you will never experience real love. You'll keep calling trauma bonding chemistry. Emotional safety isn't about never fighting. It's about feeling safe during the fight. Safe to speak, safe to feel, safe to cry without being mocked. Safe to say, you know what, I'm struggling. And not be hit with judgment or silence. But here's what kills it. Eye rolls when they open up, sarcasm when they're being sincere, using their past against them, punishing them for being too much. Love doesn't look like I'll only be kind when you're perfect. Love speaks, I see your mess and I'm not running. Because the truth is, you don't build a healthy relationship with rules and roles. You build it with emotional safety, consistency, compassion when it's hardest to give. That's the blueprint. And I'm going to tell you what, that's the fucking game changer.